Application stands.
Made condition. 28 and 28.1, I appear for the state, which is the petition.
Yes, yes,
I have a situation where peculiar
I appear for respondents.
form of a public interest litigation.
Yes.
Final judgment is not pronounced on 13th of June. Would your lordship just have page 94? One paragraph becomes relevant. Paragraph 48, page 94.
For a second before
The only issue will pertain to the deployment of central armed paramilitary forces in the state of West Bengal while conducting the panchayat.
You are appearing for the state.
I'm most of that.
I appear in the connected matter for the West Bengal state election.
Yes.
I also appear for in the connected matter for the election commission, state election commission.
State election.
Yes.
Millet, I
Yes.
appear for one of the interveners, Millet.
Interveners.
Using the USCPs.
For the respondents.
Yes.
We are led by Mr. Salve Malot.
Yes. Yes.
For the respondents.
Yes.
Please have paragraph 48. Page
May I just submit something? I appear for Mr. Adhiranjan Chaudhary, who was a writ petitioner in the first petition by which 13th order was passed.
Yes.
Copy that I have served by the election commission. I am not impeded as a party respondent here.
That is for the petitioners to impede you or not to impede you.
I was a petitioner before the cabinet.
28.2. My petitions are 28 and 28.
They are there in any case.
There are 3 petitions, I think.
There are 3 petitions.
Yes.
There are 3.
2 are by the state government, 1 by the state election.
So they have selected the petition in which they want to challenge the order.
No, Marines, I think there is a small confusion.
They have,
The West Bengal State Election Commission has in all filed 4 petitions, each one arising out of a different writ petition. It could be possible that the one which is being referred to by Mr. Tanka could not get registered yesterday and is not today before my lords. So the only petition of the West Bengal Commission before my lords is the one where it is Dipankar Rit is a respondent.
yes.
Other petitions could not get registered for some defect and are not there today.
All
All
right.
that as it may, my lords, we are okay.
Yes,
It's
yes,
not a
please.
question of not.
Please straight away have page 94.
Yes, please.
This next issue is regarding the deployment of central paramilitary forces. So after that, please come straight away to the operative portion of this direction. Please come to page 96. And
Yes.
the first error, middle of the page, was about 12 lines from the top. It is not in dispute that a preliminary assessment has already been made by the State Election Commission and several districts having been earmarked as sensitive districts. It has been widely reported in the press that there have been several instances where prospective candidates complained about non-availability of nomination papers. But as a matter of fact, and that was pointed out subsequently by means of a review petition, as on date of hearing, there was no such preliminary assessment made, no demarcation made of any sensitive areas. Be that as it may, please come to the directions issue, last 6 lines of that page. We are of the view that the State Election Commission should and shall requisition the deployment of central forces to work in tandem with the police force of the state of West Bengal to ensure free and fair elections. It is stated that the report that the assessment plan submitted by the state will be reviewed by the State Election Commission for taking appropriate decision. So the next sentence is very critical. The ultimate decision should lie with the State Election Commission, more particularly when it has been consistent submission of the petitioners that there is inadequate police force for being deployed throughout the state so as to cover all polling stations, especially when the number of seats for which the elections are to be held are more than 75,000. So with reference to 13th of June, this direction comes to be passed for an assessment to be made by the State Election Commission, obviously in consultation with the state government and the machinery.
Yes.
The impugned judgment, please now have page 1, 15th of June, within 48 hours, the position changes. And please have straight away page 17, paragraph 17.
What is the situation on the ground level in the meanwhile?
The situation on the ground level is that with reference to the date of nomination that was done, today is the last date for withdrawal of nominations. The scrutiny of nomination papers is done. The polling is on 8th of July. So the only date with reference to the deployment remains for 8th of July. At page 17, paragraph 17, the Honorable High Court now proceeds on the premise that not only should this assessment no longer be made by the State Election Commission and the state government, it should also be now deployed for every single district across the board, whether sensitive or not sensitive, as if the entire force of the state of West Bengal is inadequate and incompetent. Not only that, it was placed before the Honorable High Court that we have requisitioned forces additionally from 5 different states, including Bihar, Jharkhand, Orissa, Tamil Nadu, and Punjab. All 5 states, we have made those requisitions. Those forces will additionally be available.
Therefore, even according to you, the police force as of now is inadequate to meet.
Absolutely correct.
We don't appreciate comments to what we say, please. Is inadequate to meet the situation.
Yes, may I-
Therefore, you have requisitioned police force from half a dozen states.
No,
Now, what this High Court has thought is, instead of requisitioning of police force from more than half a dozen states, let the central police force. See, ultimately, the High Court says the expenditure will be borne by the center,
I want
not
to-
by the states.
But this is not,
State itself.
it is not an issue of expenditure. Would you
No,
not?
that is one of the aspects.
I'm most
But
glad.
even according to you, it is inadequate.
No, no,
to
I'm
meet
so,
the
I'm so sorry. That
Because-
impression.
75,000 odd, I think, polls, booths have, 75,000 odd,
60,
booths
may I give?
booths have to have been established. And you have in a way said that because there is inadequacy of the police force, in order to meet the law and order situation and to conduct the poll in a fair manner, you have yourself requisitioned.
Because may I indicate 2 things from apropos what is
Yes.
from the court. The total number of polling booths is about 61,636. That's a fact number
All
one.
of them will be.
Today, with reference to the sensitivity analysis that has been made, with reference to 61,636 polling booths, 189 have been identified as being sensitive. With reference to this 189, we say that we have more than 50 to 60,000 police personnel within the state, combining the state of West Bengal Police and Kolkata Police. All of this is capable of being deployed. Additionally, there are 8,000 freshly recruited constables in addition to other departments which can be brought into service. In the event, the issue of the indication for calling for additional forces is never an issue saying that I today say that it is inadequate. In the event that as circumstances develop, because if on the eve of the entire situation, some situation develops that I have to bring in additional forces, whether it would be central or it would be other states, I am not in a position to ask for it or deploy it. As an insurance, to ensure that I will not have such a problem, I have made adequate arrangements in advance. It is not an admission of the fact that my police force is incapable or incompetent to deal with the scenarios that will come up. When I have done so, now please have one line at page 6, paragraph 8 of the impugned judgment, where the Honorable High Court says, no doubt you have done this exercise, but this is not correct. Please do central. With that please have page 6, paragraph 8.
See, the reason is the High Court, I think, has recorded 2013, 2018. There has been a history
No, I'm so sorry.
because, you see, holding election cannot be a license for violence.
I'm most obliged. No?
That is the point.
And let me,
And therefore, to hold a free and fair poll,
please, Gulab.
we must appreciate that you are one of the states where you have a democratic, setup right up to the lower levels, and grassroots level elections are taking place. But at the same time, elections cannot be accompanied by
I'm
violence.
most obliged.
Now,
This is why-
Therefore, if persons are not able to go and file their nominations,
No, I'm so sorry.
or if those who have filed their nominations are ultimately finished off, or there is a
With
group clashes, there is free and fair election.
With utmost respect, and I'm saying this, sometimes facts and figures are different from the impressions. And please, because your ladyship put to me 2013 and 2018, let me clarify on 2013 and 18. 2013, a judgment of the Honorable Calcutta High Court was passed, which ultimately came to this Honorable Court, with where the State Election Commission had itself asked for deployment of CAPA.
Then why the volte-face now?
This is a 10 years ago situation. If issues and eventualities, the ground realities which pertain to 2013 need not necessarily pertain to 2023. 2018, please have that judgment. This Honorable Court dealt with the same request. At the instance of private persons, 2018 elections, this Honorable Court said State Election Commission has to decide. That is the end. And which is why the ultimate direction, whatever the errors on the 13th of June judgment be, the ultimate direction that it is for the State Election Commission in consultation with the state government to decide. If it is required, absolutely it must be called for. If it is not required, it cannot be thrust. And that's the sense of, and please have
See,
paragraph.
what is the homework that has been done by the State Election Commission?
straight away.
I have a compilation here, right from the day. On the 8th, there was a press release. From the 9th onwards, the Election Commission has been consistently engaged. There is now an identification. And as was, my lords may just take this compilation. Would you just give other side a few copies of this? And my lords, therefore, these and my lords, there are two directions of the High Court which are really not within. One is not within the purview of the State Election Commission at all. So that, my lords, we had filed a review, but the order of 15th came and therefore we had withdrawn. And the other is the part where the forces have to be in all the areas and districts. That again is a completely infeasible this thing, because what the Election Commission does is that in the panchayat elections, every poll booth is a constituency. So, but for the Zilla, you may have the districts. For the Samitis, you may have between 5 and 20 poll booths, which will form a constituency, depending upon the Samitis. Now, therefore, one identifies the sensitive poll booths, and that's what is done always. So there is a need to identify and which process has been done. But my lords, these observations that the Election Commission hasn't done anything are, with due respect, really not called for. Because please appreciate one thing. 8th is the press release. 9th is when the meeting is held and directions are given by the Election Commissioner. On the 9th itself, the petition is filed. At that point, please take a look at this compilation.
Yes.
And the court may come immediately to page number 6. The first two are the press release and the notifications issued for the election. So we can ignore that and come to the 6th. Now on 9th is the notification, and on the 9th of June itself,
Yes.
in the morning a petition is filed without waiting to see what's going to happen, what's not happening. But on the 9th of June, this is the meeting that is held between the Chief Secretary, Government of Bengal, the Director General and Inspector of Police, as well as with the Election Commission.
What is the date of notification of the poll?
Of the poll is 8th July, but the
No, no, no.
process.
June, calendar. Calendar is 8th.
Yes.
8th of previous day. Yes.
And 9th, this is the meeting, and 9th morning, this petition has been filed. Now, the process had commenced, but the nominations, etc., there is still time, and that it's not that we are oblivious to it, we are conscious of our responsibility. Please turn to paragraph 4 here in this page number 6.
Yes, please.
The commissioner stressed upon urgency of adequate force deployment during the entire election process and immediate need to formulate a security plan for panchayat elections, including deployment of security personnel at polling booths. If in the assessment of the state government, there was a shortage of security personnel, it should be brought to the notice of the commission forthwith. There should be a daily reporting to the commission on law and order by the commissioners of police, superintendent of police, and start the whole process. The report should include seizure of unlicensed, etc. Would my lords please turn to page number 7, paragraph 8. The commissioner gave special emphasis on area domination, Naka checking, route march as a confidence building measure to instill confidence in the voters and public at large. Requested to ensure supervisory officers moved around, kept a watch. Please come to serial number 11 then. Possibility of videography of nomination, scrutiny, withdrawal thereof was discussed. It was agreed that same would be done. Now, this is on the 9th itself. But let's please appreciate where was the need of this petition being filed on the 9th, in which an order is now passed on the 13th. So there is now please come.
What steps did you
Yes,
take
now
after
please
this?
please come to next page, page number 8, on the 11th of June.
Yes.
On the 11th of June itself, there is a direction to impose section 144 CRPC within 1 kilometer radius of the nomination venues concerned till the completion of the nomination process. So we do that immediately on the 11th itself. Now please see thereafter, I am also directed to state that only 2 persons, including a candidate, proposer, or 1 person on their behalf may be allowed to enter the nomination venue. Order should be given effect from the next date of nomination, that is from 12th of June itself. Now please come to page number 10. This is 14th of June. This is after the direction has been issued on the 13th of June. Please come there. In light of the orders of the High Court with reference to writ petitions above, you are requested, now this is written by the State Election Commission to the Chief Secretary, submit an assessment plan for deployment of forces in the ensuing Panchayat general elections to enable the Commission to take further action. So we write to them because we need an assessment plan that comes from there. We check that assessment plan to see that if there is a requirement of any additional forces, thereafter, we make that request. It is not within the domain of the Election Commission to requisition any central or other state forces. It can only make a request to the state government, and the state government is required to comply with that.
This is only a request.
No, but my lords, my
Where
problem is today the direction of the court is to the contrary.
No, this letter is only a request made by you.
It is a request, so therefore,
So even the State Election Commission
yes.
has requested deployment
No.
of forces.
I have said two things. I have said, first, give me an assessment plan. After I scrutinize the assessment plan, and if I find the assessment plan is inadequate, we need more forces. And today there is an assessment. 189 poll booths have been identified as sensitive, which will require much more deployment than the other poll booths. Naturally, that deployment is not going to happen on the other 65,000, the ones which are identified. And there are factors which go into identification. There is a historical factor, there is an intelligence input, and there are other sources which are given by the police and the others to identify that. Now, based on that, 189 have already been identified.
Yes.
Today, I am aggrieved by two directions that the High Court issues to me. High Court, first of all, says, Election Commission will requisition the deployment of forces. That's always done by the state. That is not done by the Commission. The Commission can at best say, I require these many number of forces to be deployed. The second direction that the High Court cannot be applied and cannot be worked on is that we have to provide forces in all areas and districts, and which is that last paragraph number 17, which it says central forces for all districts in the state of West Bengal. Now, the forces deployment has to be done at all booths. There is no doubt about it. Certain booths extra, but it cannot be the whole of the district. It cannot be the whole of district. So, number one, state has to decide on the requisition. I cannot decide whether it's central or it's from the state. Number two, the deployment has to be done in a manner which it is done is more sensitive, and thereafter the others also have to be protected, but there is a method to it. Now, I just want to show that it is not that we haven't done anything. Would you be so kind and please come to page number 10. I have shown you the letter of 14, and thereafter, please see page 11 and 12, and 12 is particularly relevant.
Yes.
Now, on the 15th, we asked them to complete the preliminary assessment immediately and give a report to the Commission. Please come now to the page number 12, which is the record of meeting of 16th of May. Now, in this is what is discussed and it has been noted. Please see this. Deployment of central forces, the Commission informed that it has moved, and we will leave that, the SLP was here. DGP will deploy state armed forces, specialized forces or EFR in adequate numbers in every district, strengthening the handling of law and order situation in polling areas. Report in this regard to be communicated by 17th. Now, DM and the district panchayat officers and SP will use services of armed forces for area domination, route march, confidence building, etc., nakabandi to prevent any untoward. Now, my lords, these two are very important because you always have the state civil officers who are deployed there to carry out. This time we didn't stop there. We also deployed the IAS officers as special observers, which is paragraph number 4. Commission would appoint IAS officers as special observers in every district on the 16th of June itself. Sensitivity plan. Commission has asked for sensitive area plan from every district to be submitted to the Commission. Report will help the Commission for deployment of police forces and then the scrutiny, etc. Now, there is a sensitivity assessment report that comes, and which is the last document in this from page number 14. So this is the preliminary sensitivity assessment report. And if we can come to the last page in this, out of 61,636, 189 polling booths have been identified in this preliminary sensitivity assessment report as to be sensitive booths, which will require certain additional deployment, certain additional measures. Therefore, for the Election Commission, my submission is this. We are conscious of the fact that before we move for the polling, because the initial processes are today over. So between today and the 8th of July, and at least until the 6th of July, there will be a campaigning period. Then there is a cooling period of 48 hours, and we proceed to poll on the 8th of July. My lords, we, having done this assessment action, and once this is finalized, will have a full requisition of the forces that are required. It will be for the state government from where it chooses to supply those forces to us. The direction of the High Court that the State Election Commission is required to requisition these forces, that does not come within our purview. We have to only request the state for those forces to be supplied. That number two, the direction that every district has to be covered within the state, that will not be feasible. Because even if you got the forces, how many ever numbers? Because today, on the last page, if you would see, we have made a request of the number of companies which are now required. The companies which are required will be fairly large in number. I think that was a document, they haven't yet put it, but we have asked for companies. That's the last document that has come.
No, we are wondering,
Yes.
see, ultimately it is the responsibility of the State Election Commission to conduct the election in a.
Free and fair, peaceful election.
Yes. Now, the question is, how are you aggrieved by this order?
My lords, I am
The
aggrieved.
point is this, you have yourself requested for deployment of forces to the state
Absolutely.
government.
Absolutely.
Now, from where the forces come is not your concern. How is your SLP maintainable? What is your grievance here?
May I just point out
How
the
is-
direction?
In fact, it is an aid to your discharging of your responsibility.
My lords, would my lords please come to
Don't
page,
find it.
that last paragraph number 17.
Yes, please.
And that only because I had filed a review. This was also contained in the order of 13th of June, which is also extracted at page number 8. If we can go to page number 8 immediately first, yes, and then come to page number 17 of the impugned order, which is paragraph number 2, and just where paragraph number 3 begins, that's a whole extract from the order of 13th of June.
Yes.
I just want to show the two directions on basis of which a review had been filed. But because of this order of 15, those review had been withdrawn. And this is on an aspect of jurisdiction. So I completely appreciate what is being put to me is that this comes to the aid of the commission to conduct free and fair elections. By all means, I bow down. But my lord,
See whether
there is certain
whether
things
you have the state forces, or in addition
I
you
am
have
not on
forces
that.
from the neighboring
which
states,
not I am
or whether the central forces come.
my
You
lord
cannot have any grievance
I
at all.
cannot. I cannot. You are absolutely right. But
But
my
we have heard you. We have heard you. Despite that, we have heard you. What other concern?
I'm
What
pointing that
concern
out.
do you have?
Would you be so kind and read those 3 lines on top of the page 8, which is the order of 13 June, which is then reiterated in the concluding paragraph of the impugned order of 15th June. We had challenged both the orders because against this we had filed
Page 8.
Page 8. Please see the 3rd line from the top. Therefore, my ladyship. my
No,
lords,
which
that-
in we have
Yes.
the main matter.
Therefore,
We have in 28.
oh, I see. Just on top of paragraph 3 of the order of 15th of June. That will be page 6, I presume, in my docs.
Yes. Yes, please.
So the 3rd line from the top, therefore, You have that? Therefore,